Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in the world. Famous for our casinos, quick divorces, and legalized prostitution outside of city limits, it doesn't look much different than most cities across the country. Our streets are lined with buildings and homes. A small river winds through the middle of downtown, cooling residents off in the summer. And not too far away, the majestic Lake Tahoe sits quietly in the mountains that divide the state from California. All of these things describe the location of Reno, but not what the city is. Reno is a collection of people and stories. Some stories stretch back decades, while others are just beginning. This particular story is about two women and a truck made of cheese. I began the first day on the truck observing all that went into starting the day. I was naive in thinking all these ladies had to do was drive out into the city and make some sandwiches. I never really put much thought into how much work would need to go into what was needed to run their business. There was the usual restocking of the truck after working the day before, but along with that was making from scratch their tomato soup, dipping sauces, slicing cheese, and pre-cooking some of the meats used throughout the day. Having to do all of this in such a confined space didn't help move things along either. After all is said and done, it takes a couple of hours before they're ready to roll out. It seemed like they had a good system in place to make all of this prep work as efficient as possible, but it wasn't always that easy.
The first day was very chaotic. We second-guessed the size of our menu and life that day. So we made it through it, and we look back on that first day now and giggle a little bit. Oh, we thought we were so busy.
Make soup, make salads, make sauces, make dressings, cook off bacon, cook off chicken, cook off
vegetables, sliced cheese, sliced meat. You know, it's just, we're so busy, and it's like such a short time frame that we're serving that we just try to do as much as possible. So, I mean, everything's made fresh to order, but everything's ready, so we just have to put it all together. Fries are not cooked a day before, and then we reheat them. They are cooked fresh to order. That's why we have issues sometimes if our fryer is not cooperative.
Sandwiches made to order, brie sliced at the time of ordering. We do as much as we can as freshly as possible. There's some things that would just slow down the process so much more if we didn't, prep a little bit more.
I mean, like, we grill off onions and mushrooms in the morning, but it's never enough for the whole service, so it'll just enough to get us started, and then we grill fresh vegetables while we're serving. And we just have to keep in mind, like, the grill is only so big, so if we're going to try to cook as many sandwiches as possible, we have to try to have all that other prep work done ahead of time, so we have to free up space on the grill.
We thought originally that we would be able to be off early and come in a little bit later and just serve lunch. And
we thought it was going to be like an hour before or maybe 2 hours before and an hour after our lunch service, and that's not the case at all.
We get there at 8 and we get home at 5 or 6 or even later than that, depending on
if we really don't have anything else to do. There's always like extra shopping we have to do. We don't get things delivered to us like regular restaurants do, so we have to go out and get all our product, and we have to
get gas, get propane,
wash the truck, clean.
Once the truck is stocked and the prep work is finished, the ladies head off to the waiting crowd of hungry customers at that day's location.
Her name is Betsy.
She's Big Bessie. Big girl.
She's a big girl.
It just kind of, I don't know how that happened. And sometimes, because there's Jessie and Betsy, if I'm talking about the truck, which I always refer to it as Betsy. And I'm like, what'd you say about me? It's a little bit confusing. I don't know how, it was very organic, the naming of the truck. It just happened, and we've always stuck with it. And we thank her every day.
Tell her good night, good morning, and
we never talk ill of Betsy, especially within her earshot.
We got it in Cameron Park, California. Oh, we were ecstatic. We had blinders on a little bit. We were just so excited to finally have it, and we wanted to start making it our vision. We found out after we bought the truck that it had been rusted out, so that was a major overhaul we had to do. It's completely new metal and
new floor, new windows replaced, new tires, new rims, new lots of things, new cutting boards, 4 months, thousands of dollars. Lots of free labor and help and handouts from
family and friends.
But fortunately, the engine was good and the kitchen equipment was good.
As soon as the truck pulled up, the crowd gathered and the real work began. Before I knew it, Haley and Jessie were taking orders and grilling sandwiches, filling the truck with the amazing smells of grilled cheese and garlic fries. I won't lie, I got hungry really fast.
Everybody loves grilled cheese. There's so many things you can do with it. We always have been cheese lovers, and
so many combinations, and it's comfort food. People gravitate towards comfort food.
We didn't really want anything on our truck to just be
ordinary,
plain or ordinary, Taking combinations of food that we already liked and trying to make it into a sandwich, and then also just looking up different sandwich recipes and
having friends over, trying it out on them. How do you like this? Which one's better? What should we do to improve it? I mean, a lot of those. I think our friends were pretty much sick of grilled cheese by the time we opened, but still very supportive.
Yes.
I think sometimes people will be like, oh, grilled cheese, $5 or something, and then they see it and they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. This thing is, huge, and fresh bread.
Right, we're not using Wonder Bread. We're using fresh local bread, fresh ingredients, fresh eggs. So we have high quality food.
There were no breaks in the crowd that day, and the few hours spent making sandwiches were done in a flash. When I returned the next morning, the whole process began again. The soups and dipping sauces were made fresh, bread was put in its bins, and the air conditioner was turned up full blast, as the day had already begun to heat up, and being in a metal box with a massive grill in it wasn't helping. As they worked in the heat of the truck, I wondered how it all began with these two. Why would they want to work in this kind of field, and what was it that pushed them out onto the road in the first place?
I had this concept, and I think I texted you or something. Like, I want to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
How could it be
about a business? Because I know you knew it was about a business because you thought maybe it was going to be catering, right? But I was in between jobs and having been laid off because of the economy and just not wanting to work for the man anymore. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. Let's get to how do you start a business? So we tried, we did that, the whole business plan thing, talking about financial, doing, laying it out there for a proposal for a bank or whatever, figuring out that probably wasn't going to happen.
And then met with a real estate agent to try to find a location. And then we were like, okay. I felt like we were kind of like dead in the road a little bit. We were feeling a little bit defeated. Nobody's going to give us a loan. This isn't going to work. It's a restaurant. And then we're like, well, let's just do a truck. Let's do that. And then it was like full speed ahead ever since then.
Mm-hmm. Right now we're booked out about a month.
We have some spots that we go, once every month, and then we're always getting a few more requests, every day or every week or something. So we try to do a nice mixture of new places that we've never been and then places that we've been before. It's awesome. It really is. We work so hard, like harder than we ever imagined, but it's worth it. We have fun. We laugh all day and doing something on our own, not funding somebody else's restaurant or making money from somebody else. We're doing it all for ourselves.
Yep.
Driving is stressful, but it's getting better. Getting a lot better. It's so big, so powerful on that big truck.
And if you do end up hitting anything, it's just you don't even feel it. It's just a light brush.
Like, oh, that was a little bump. Doo, 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 doo.
But really, you've injured your truck or you've done something, and you just don't know it. Yeah.
Well, we learned some things. Don't drive with doors open, or
big steep curbs are bad also.
Oh yeah, the truck's so heavy that big slopes we bottom out. Exhaust pipes fall off.
With all the morning prep finished, we rolled out and I wondered what the day was about to bring us. As it turned out, it was about to get a lot hotter in Betsy.
You may want to stop. Yeah.
A small fire had flared up right behind me, causing us to have to stop and adjust the fryer. Now this little flame would be giving us headaches very soon, but we didn't know that yet. The line grew and our sandwiches were grilling. All was going great until we noticed that the fries were taking forever to cook. With a crowd of customers having already ordered, a decision was made to abandon the popular side dish and hope that the folks would take a substitute instead. Soon after, the credit card machine stopped working as well, forcing orders to be cash only. This caused some potential customers in line to leave. As the heat rose in the truck, so did frustrations over the various obstacles that the day was delivering. But Jessie and Haley took them in stride, and soon the line was gone and it was time to clean up the truck and head home.
That was a tough day. A grease fire in the morning, fries not working or cooking properly, taking a tremendous long amount of time, credit card machine down. People were generally not that mad though, so they were happy, and it was hot that day, and they were standing out there and waiting forever for fries to cook, and it was a hard day on us because we always want to please people and make them happy, but
there's generally not too many days where at least one thing doesn't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We're running late, or we forgot something, or something's not working, or usually something goes wrong. It's just a matter of how we deal with it and overcome it. I've always kind of had the feeling there's only so much you can do. Somebody's going to be happy or they're not. And of course we try to do everything that we can to give them a good product and a good service, but there's only so much we can do.
Just, you try to if you made a mistake, you try to fix the mistake. If you can't make them happy, then, hopefully they'll come back again, and hopefully they won't smear you to their friends, I guess.
The next day started off just as every other day had before it, with prep work consuming the morning. The headaches of the day before had me wondering if that was as bad as it's ever gotten here on the truck.
It depends on what you want to classify as a worst day. Is it the worst day as far as how many people showed up, or the worst day as far as the things that went wrong on that particular day? And I think you were with us on one of those. Then there's, the other worst day where you go somewhere and no one comes out. No one comes to the check. And that, I think, is harder on both of our moods. And, generally people ask us to go somewhere. So if we show up somewhere and then no one comes out, it's a little frustrating.
The one spot we're both thinking of right now, we had 3 different requests to be at that one place. And I don't think any of those 3 people that requested us even came out. So that was a frustrating day, but we just take it as a learning experience. We live and learn, and we'll go back there and move on.
With no major issues this time around, the lunch service was heating up. The usual crowd formed, and soon the grill was full of sandwiches. Getting a crowd this big isn't pure chance day after day. Over the course of the few months they've been opened, Haley and Jessie have developed a rather large following. Most of these people track the truck down from postings the tech-savvy ladies leave on the web each day, and those people are telling their friends that GourMelt is a destination that is worth the time to find and experience.
Some of the looks we get driving this giant truck down the road, people, it's already so eye-catching, and then people kind of do a double take and they're like, well, there's a girl driving that truck.
It took a long time to get used to honking. You always think when somebody's honking at you that you're doing
like
something
a negative
bad. Oh no, I must be cutting someone off or something. But no, they're honking and waving and they're excited and they're yelling, "GourMelt, GourMelt!" and they're driving by. And sometimes it's a little unnerving when you're getting yelled at and honked at when you're driving, but it's a good thing, They have a strong Facebook and Twitter following, and people they look for us via Facebook especially, and they communicate to us through that. So that's really been our number one way of getting the word out about ourselves, and it's really exploded.
Mm-hmm. We had one incident where the place we were scheduled to be, I can't remember exactly, but something happened to where it wasn't going to work out. They had to cancel for that day. So we just put it on our Facebook and we said, we're open tomorrow. Who wants us? We had a huge response from that. So we went through and, figured out what location we wanted to be at and what would work best for us. So there's always somewhere for us to go. Somebody will take us in.
There's no one else that I could even picture being my partner. When I thought about who I could go into business with, Jessie was the first person that popped into my mind. She has a lot of work ethic and she's a hard worker. Hopefully she feels the same way about me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you think about the person that's the most responsible and reliable, that's the person you want to be in business with and that you can stand to be around.
Yeah, really.
Well, and I think that's why we chose each other as business partners, and we have total trust in each other, and there really hasn't been too many things where we just disagree on, or, we always try to just talk about it. The big decisions, we have time to talk about it, like during service, it's a quick thing, and whatever she decides, I back her on, and if it's not what I would have done, whatever. It is what it is. We don't have time to have these big, long discussions about what we're going to do for this one lady, So it's
a partnership, and, we have to trust each other and the decisions that are made on the fly. they have to be, backed up by the other person, and that's the way we work.
The last day on the truck proved to be the hottest as the summer heat beat down on us before we were even out to that day's location. For me it was rough, but for the ladies it was just another day on the grill. The customers came and ordered, and before you knew it, the crowd had gathered. Of course, being the last day of filming, we couldn't get away without a little bit of drama, and the credit card machine decided to crash. This time there were less grumblings from the crowd, and many of them came back with cash in hand, not willing to pass up getting a sandwich from Haley, Jessie, and of course Betsy. At this point, I had seen what happens when a piece of equipment goes down, but what would happen if Jessie or Haley were unable to work?
We do have a couple family and friends that know a little bit about the truck and how it works to where they could step in and it wouldn't be like such a drastic hiccup in the road, but
it's not easy.
It's not.
Especially during the week, it would be damn near impossible. And we just have a thing about canceling. It really doesn't happen, so.
It hasn't happened yet.
Our families are just amazing and save us on occasion, bring us supplies, or especially if at an event or something you're there. If you're getting low on something, you can't, one of us can't leave the other and go get it. So yesterday my husband brought a couple of things, so we made it through the end of our event yesterday and saved us. I'm very thankful for all the help and support that they've given us.
Finally, the last sandwich was served, and my time at GourMelt was finished. The ladies drove off into the sunset, and for me, the adventure was over. Or so I thought. A few months later, I was taking a break from editing, and I saw a posting on Facebook from the ladies calling for help. Seems the city of Reno was looking to impose new regulations on the growing number of food trucks around town, and some of those new regulations would seriously hurt or even shut down a few of these small businesses. That included GourMelt.
We found out about the ordinance and got an email from someone who had read a tiny blurb about it in the Reno Gazette-Journal. I believe they have to post public notice about anything they plan on doing. And normally people don't even notice things like that, but we got an email about it. We launched a Facebook campaign. We basically said, everyone who's following us, please email or write a letter to the city and tell them that, voice your concerns, because people's initial reaction, everybody kind of had the same reaction about this is unfair, why is the city getting involved, why are they trying to crush small business, all this stuff. So we used our social media to kind of launch this campaign, and it worked.
Some of the new restrictions proposed by the ordinance would have the trucks unable to park within 300 feet of a brick-and-mortar restaurant, a 2-hour time limit at approved locations, and taking away the ability to cater to the late-night bar crowds by enforcing a 10 p.m. curfew.
The main thing was the time frame, the 2-hour time limit that we would have. Normally we serve for at least 3 hours for lunch, so cutting it by an hour or more would drastically reduce our business and maybe even close us down.
The proposed ordinance went in front of the city council, and the owners of most of the local food trucks showed up to make sure their voice was heard. The meeting was long, and eventually the topic was addressed. In the end, a compromise was reached, and the uncertain future of the Reno food truck culture brightened.
They agreed to change the hours from 2 hours to 3, and then originally it was we couldn't be within 300 feet of another similar establishment, so that was moved to 100. And then the curfew was also lifted a little bit. They changed it from 10 to 11, And then that excludes 24-hour zones, which is pretty much all of downtown. So it's a good compromise.
With the issues with the city behind them, the girls got back to work making sandwiches. They didn't stop there though. After the filming of this documentary, they revamped their menu, launched an app for smartphones that would help people track them down when they had a craving for grilled cheese, and even rallied some of the other food trucks in the area together to put on a weekly event called Food Truck Fridays. To me, Haley, Jessie, and even Betsy have added to the things that make the city of Reno interesting. But they aren't the only ones. There are stories around every corner and in every window. It makes me wonder what other interesting folks I'm going to run into the next time me and my camera head back into the city.